local officials. I'm probably going to miss some folks, but there are some that I noticed, and I want to make sure we welcome them. I'm going to run through the list, and then let's give them a really, really big round of applause. Representative Paracella from Beverly. Or we can clap now. That's okay, too. Mayor Kirk from Gloucester. Rep Ehrlich from Marblehead. Mayor Cahill from Beverly. Senator Tom McGee from Lynn, and our Democratic Party chair. I know Mayor Beckford is here, somewhere in the crowd from Peabody next door. We can clap for him. We've got some city councilors from Salem, Bill Legault and Heather Famico here in the crowd. Our police chief, Paul Tucker. We've got Beverly Griffin Dunn, a school committee member in Peabody, and also our Democratic nominee for state rep there has also joined us. Pam Casey O'Brien, our register of probate here in Essex County. And Tom Driscoll, our clerk of clerks. And if I forgot anybody else, I'm sorry. Representative Paracella, I did note him, but we'll say hello to him twice. Thanks to all the electeds who are here, the local leaders, and all of you. You know, we've had good fortune on the North Shore, having had strong leadership representing us in Washington for many years, standing up for working families, fighting for issues important to women, from equal pay to choice, and supporting communities as we work to improve our schools, invest in our infrastructure, and keep our neighborhoods safe. Some people will say it doesn't matter who represents you in Congress. Nothing gets done. And we can all relate to that feeling and that frustration, but I say they're wrong. We need good people with strong values, committed to the things we care about as Democrats, and I hope as Americans. A quality education for all, access to affordable health care, a social safety net for our most vulnerable citizens, and strong communities that offer all residents a good quality of life. We know that these are important democratic values that Seth will work to advance, and I'm very much looking forward to working with him these next critical 2 months and well after that to make sure he's in Washington looking out for all of us. Of public service and an eagerness to work constructively on issues that matter at the local level. I'll be calling on many of you here, some of you who aren't here, to come together and support Seth to send a fighter to Washington on our behalf. I'm equally excited to welcome Governor Patrick to Salem. Welcome, he's practically lived here. It's fitting that he's here because there's really been no greater advocate in our state on the important values that the Democratic Party represents. He's been an amazing leader for our Commonwealth, and I'm proud to call him my friend. There has been no governor who's done more for cities and towns, and any of us who are here would agree with that. From community and economic development investments to championing more funding for local aid and infrastructure and education, Salem has been a grateful beneficiary of the Patrick administration, as has every city on the North Shore and beyond. I am sad to see your tenure as governor coming to an end, but I am happy that you're able to join us here this afternoon. Governor Patrick.
And thank you all for coming out today. I always get a warm welcome here in Salem, and it's great to be back. And of course, the weather is always like this for those who are not from around here. It is, I have to say, first of all, that you know, the valedictories seem to have begun. I'm still in office, everybody. And I intend to govern along with my partners in the legislature and elsewhere in the administration and in Washington to the very last day, because there is work to do. There is work to do. And we talk about our policy choices, we talk about our programs, and they are important. I think it's also important to talk about our results. We are at a 25-year high in employment in Massachusetts today. Our economy is growing twice as fast as the national growth rate. We lead the nation in student achievement and economic competitiveness in healthcare coverage. 99% of our residents have health insurance. We lead the nation in an entrepreneurial activity, in veteran services, in energy efficiency, and on and on and on. We have consistently, with the help of the legislature, enacted on-time and balanced budgets. We have the highest bond rating in the history of the Commonwealth. And most especially, we're investing again, time, money, ideas, in the things we know make a difference in people's lives, in education, in innovation, in infrastructure. It matters. There's always more work to do. To be sure, there's more work to do. This is, in civic life, about a relay race. What you do and how fast you run in your time, and then what you hand off to those who come behind. None of it works without partnership. None of it. The partnership we have enjoyed, and I've been blessed to enjoy with the members of the legislature, and I acknowledge every one of you and thank you, and those who are not here as well. The partnership we have had with our municipal leaders, and this mayor has been one of the finest. Let me be clear, I love the other mayors here too, but we're in her city right now. And we have been blessed, I think, as well, by a very, very strong partnership with our congressional delegation. John Tierney is a friend of mine. He was an early supporter of mine back when most of you didn't know how to pronounce my name or in what order it was. He understands democratic values and democratic vision, and I respect him. But aren't we lucky?
Yes.
Aren't we lucky as Democrats that our bench is so deep, that our talent is so rich, and that we have as our standard bearer in the general election, Seth Moulton. What is on some of your minds, and you aren't saying it. Yes, he's right out of Central Casting. But there's a lot more to this young man. There's a deep history of service. You've heard about his military service, his community service, his spirit of service is genuine and deep. And I know and share some of the sources of that service through a mentor of both of ours, a generation apart, if I may say, in Peter Gomes, whom we lost a couple of years ago, the minister at our church. We need that spirit in our delegation and in our Congress. We need that spirit in our communities. We need that spirit in our own lives and in our own hearts. We need to understand that there are decisions and sacrifices we have to make right now, inconveniences we have to endure right now to make a better way for a generation that's coming behind us. The same way our parents and grandparents did for us. I love Democrats. I'm proud to be a Democrat. But Democrats get on my last nerve. Because one of the things we do over and over and over again is talk about our superior programs and policies. And believe me, I agree, they are superior, without emphasizing why they matter. Why does this election matter? Because what this party is about is the American dream. This party is about that idea that you can imagine a different place for yourself and your family and then reach for it. It's the same experience that made it possible for a kid from the south side of Chicago to become governor of Massachusetts. It's the same experience you and your parents and your grandparents have lived. It's not about substituting government for personal responsibility. I learned about personal responsibility from my welfare mother and my struggling third-grade educated grandparents and the other adults in that broken neighborhood on the south side of Chicago. I know about personal responsibility, so do you. But everybody needs a hand. Everybody needs a safe community. Everybody needs decent and affordable housing. Every child deserves a chance to go to a great school and learn the love of learning. Yeah. Every child. And government plays a role in helping people help themselves, helping people reach for that American dream. And that choice about the role of government in enabling Americans to live their patriotic expectations is what is before us in this election. It's before us in the election in the 6th District. It's before us in the election for governor and the other statewide officers. It's before us in every election right now. Do we want responsible, good, effective, results-oriented government as a partner alongside private investment and personal ambition? I say we do.
We do.
Because when we have it, we get great results. And we, all of us, have the record we've built together to prove it. That's why we need this young man in our congressional delegation. And that's why we need you all to go out and do what you know you're supposed to do. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. But this isn't where the election is going to be won. It's going to be won when you, and God bless the folks who stand with the signs. But the election is going to be won, as you well know, by going out and talking to somebody. Talking to your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, your co-workers. Talking to your, you know, that cranky uncle. I always cite the cranky uncle because everybody has one, who you hate to talk politics with. You know it's high-risk behavior, but you got to do it anyway. It's going to be won by talking to people who don't already agree with us. Walk up to somebody who's holding the other guy's sign and engage with them. You don't have to hate Republicans to be a good Democrat. I'm sorry to say, it used to be that you didn't have to hate Democrats to be a good Republican. Something is broken on that side. You have to engage, and you have to make it personal, because we have to model the kind of politics we believe in. The kind of politics that says we don't have to agree on everything before we work together on anything. We're going to send Seth Moulton to the United States Congress.
Woo!
We're going to do so that way, by making it personal. And we're going to remember why. Because the American dream is at stake, and that dream needs a champion. Ladies and gentlemen, your next Congressman, Seth Moulton.
So, Governor, the next time we do this, I get to go first. So Governor, you are a leader that I have admired for a long time. First as the friend of a friend, but now as a political leader that I will model my career after. And so it means so much to have you here supporting me today. Thank you. Mayor Driscoll, as a resident of Salem, I know how much you have done and are continuing to do for this city. I also know that you were elected after challenging an incumbent because you thought you could do a better job. And you have come here and you have done an extraordinary job for all of us. So thank you. I've talked a lot about new leadership in this race. And I think it is hard to find two better examples of new leadership and what new leadership can mean for our politics than Mayor Driscoll and Governor Patrick. We live in difficult times. Across the country, women still make 77 cents on the dollar for doing the same work as men, while their reproductive rights are under assault. Our working families are struggling to make a living wage to pay for them and themselves and their kids. Our children, even here in Massachusetts, where we have some of the best schools in the country, there are a lot of failing schools, and for many kids, their opportunities for success in life are dictated by the zip code in which they're born. And our veterans and our seniors are not getting the care that they have earned or the care that they deserve. Abroad, in Central America, chronic poverty and strife have contributed to an immigration crisis here at home. In Russia, expansionist ideologies are threatening our allies in Europe. And in the Middle East, we face a terrorist threat like one we have never seen before. Through all of this, Congress is supposed to be a beacon, a beacon of consensus leadership, a beacon of strength, and a check against the other arms of government. But instead, Congress today has become defined by hyper-partisanship and gridlock. Congress has never been perfectly effective, but today Congress is almost perfectly ineffective. And that's bad for us, it's bad for our children, and it's bad for the future of our country. In this environment, I think many of us can forget how important a strong Congress is. It plays a critical role in our democracy because the Congresses of the past have been essential to so many of the things that we rely on today. Like the public school that I walked to with my brother and sister every day growing up. Or the GI Bill that enabled me to go to school after the war. Or the Social Security and Medicare that my parents rely upon in retirement. This campaign has been about new leaders, about breaking through the gridlock. That you don't break through gridlock just by leaning on your horn, but by finding a way around. I won't be able to go to Congress and fix this all on my own. It's not going to be just up to me. But I promise you that I will go to Washington to be part of the solution. And I will work strong, not just in Washington, but back here, to be part of bringing a renaissance to the city of Lynn, to getting building on the strength of the med tech businesses along Route 128, to ensuring equal opportunity and education for all by finally getting universal pre-K for our kids. Every study shows it's the best investment of an education dollar. We need to get it done. To bringing real college loan reform and to taking personal responsibility for our failing schools. I'll work to reform the VA, and that doesn't mean just throwing more money at the existing bureaucracy. It means changing the bureaucracy, cutting through the red tape of the claims process, making sure that there is adequate mental health care for our veterans, and at the end of the day, ensuring there are private alternatives if the troops don't get the care they deserve. And abroad, I will go to Washington and bring the experience and credibility of having spent time on the ground in the Middle East, to ask the tough questions before we send young American men and women into harm's way, to ensure that even if our allies don't agree with us, they always know where America stands, to ensure that America is strong throughout the globe, and to ensure that we don't get into another ground war in Iraq.
Whoa.
Now a brief word about my opponent. Richard Tassay and the Republican Party do not share these ideas. And I don't believe that you get new leadership from a career Republican politician who was first elected to office when I was 6 years old. That's not new ideas, that's not new leadership, and those are not the values that we need here in Massachusetts. But it is not enough just to stand here and to say that. We have to prove it out on the campaign trail. We have to work hard to earn the support and the trust of every voter in this district. And I need your help in doing that. Together we can. Together we will. And we should start today. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It means so much to me and to all my old friends and my new friends who are joining us on this beautiful afternoon. I look forward to serving our country again, and I would be proud to be your next congressman.
Here you go.
So we've just heard from who we hope will be our next congressman, but it won't happen unless we all do something about it. As the governor said, we're going to need people to hold signs, to make phone calls, to go door to door, to host parties, to write checks, to reach out to us and talk to us about what your needs are. But most importantly, we need everyone to work together. And I'm glad that we're coming together. That's what we do here in Salem. That's what we do on the North Shore. We're going to make sure everyone's working hard. Most importantly, talk to people. This matters. We can be stuck with the same old, same old. We can put new people in with new ideas and a new opportunity to take our country back for the values that we represent. Thanks for being here. Have a great weekend. It's not